friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here, and I'd like to welcome you to the video that I'm calling Expanding Your Blues Repertoire. So we're going to take a few simple licks and we're going to expand on the concepts. But before we do, I just wanted to remind you that I do have a Patreon account set up, and I do have a video at my Patreon that gives you 3 reasons why you might want to consider becoming a cigar box guitar enthusiast. And I also do have links to these t-shirts down below this video. But before we get started, let's get tuned up here. I'm tuned E, B, E. And there is going to be a little jam section at the end of this video so that you can jam along and try some of these concepts. So right off the bat here, I'm going to start expanding on a real easy, simple turnaround lick, and it's basically divided into triplets. So you're going to go. So it's just, so it starts off with 1, and then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I usually like to start off on the top string. But because you know the top string and the bottom string are both tuned to, in this case here, to E, I do what they call string skipping. So instead of just going on the high string, I'm gonna go. So instead of on the same string, I'm going this string first, this string second. So does that make sense? So instead of going, so it just makes for a cool sound. And you can also flip it the other way around. Instead of going this note first and then to this note, we're going to go this note first and this note second. And you can combine them all up. So instead of just going, you can really like throw these licks in just your standard blues progressions as well as your turnaround. So that's the first part. All right, so the second part of this expansion video is we are going to expand on this little riff right here. Which is tried and true, and everybody should know that. If you don't know that, you need to learn that little lick right there. You should be able to play it with your eyes closed. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to move this finger here all the way up to the 14th fret. So it'll be 14th and 15th fret instead of down here at the 2nd and 3rd. We're up here. So instead of going, okay, so that just doubles your vocabulary, right? So you can go open or this guy here. Okay, so that is one little idea. You can also, you don't just have to stick on those notes there, right? You can move up here to the 5th fret. Go all the way up here to the So you this note here is the root, middle string, 5th fret, and this would be the major third. So you can put all of these notes in there. So the sky is the limit on that one, and that's just a that's just what they call the 1 chord. All of those would be, we call that the 1 chord because we are droning on the top and the bottom strings open. Another cool 1 chord, and I've shared this in other videos here, is just this simple little diagonal chord here. My index finger here at the 3rd fret middle string, and my middle finger here at the high string, 4th fret. This is called a dominant 7 chord. So you can use this interchangeably. And this chord here, you can move it down a half step, up a half step. But if you want to invert this chord here, you're going to move it all the way up here to the 9th and 10th fret. It's the same chord. So you put all those together. All right, moving on to the next section. So in this next section, we are going to be talking about the 4 chord. And that occurs here at the 5th fret. So you're like, wait a minute, the 4 chord at the 5th fret? The answer is yes. The 4 chord typically is a 1-finger bar here at the 5th fret. And of course, if you wanted to rock the same idea as we did down here back and forth, you would just do that with these fingers. Okay, so this section here, we're going to be talking about the 4 chord. Here's another cool way that you can play this chord here is you can just do the 2 fingers on the top and let the bottom string ring open. And what that does is that frees up your index finger here to get this chord right, this note right here. And I think that is just an awesome 4 chord. Back to the root. And you can do everything on the root. So here's a nice 4 chord. Instead of doing just this and this and this, you put these 2 fingers there and then you get this guy back here. And you can pull it off, hammer it. Now here's another cool chord. You're going to have to put your pinky here on the top here, and then your index finger is going to go here. This is kind of a little bit of a stretch, and your middle finger is going to get this note here now. So you're not using your ring finger. It's out of the way. So you got the pinky, index, and middle. Remember this chord here that I showed you here that's diagonal? We're going to move this guy down a half step and get our pinky here on this note. So this is another 4 chord. So these are just options for you to expand your blues repertoire. Okay, now, hang on, before we move to the 5 chord, let me give you another 4 chord. So we got this 4 chord, all these options here. You get this chord here, you get this chord here. I'm going to show you another cool chord. Okay, now get ready for this guy here. This is the Hendrix chord, but you're going to be playing it way down here at the my middle finger, top string, 3rd fret, and this guy here, this index finger here, is a double bar on the middle and the high string. A very dissonant sounding chord. Trust me when I say you're going to want to use this one sparingly, but whenever you do, it's going to be like, cool! Oh my gosh, so cool. Okay, so that's another 4 chord to be used sparingly, and I'm going to give you some examples of that here later on in the video. Okay, so let's move along to the 5 chord. May I introduce to you the 5 chord? Okay, so there's many ways to do the 5 chord, and I'll just show you a few of them here. So obviously we can do our index finger here at the 7th fret. Wait a minute, the 5 chord is at the 7th fret? Yes, just like the 4 chord is at the 5th fret, just like the root is open. So you have the 1 chord. So you can call this the root or the 1 open. The 4 chord is at the 5th fret, and the 5 chord is at the 7th fret. That's if you're going to do a 1 finger bar. And again, like I said, you can do that all day long. You can also do the double finger top here on the just like we did on the 4 chord, and then put our index finger if we want to, or leave it open, or put their finger down. We can also do the same chord that we did over here at the 4 chord by moving it up here, putting our pinky here at the 7th fret. This is another 5 chord. 4 chord. Here's another 5 chord. And that's just top and the bottom strings at the 2nd fret. The middle string's open. So if we did our top and bottom strings here at the 2nd fret, you can also do it way up here at the 14th fret for the 5 chord, and put our index finger in the middle string if you want. One more 5 chord that I like to show people here is this guy here. Pinky at the 14th, middle finger or open at the 12th fret, and then my index finger here at the 11th fret. Now if I move this down 2 frets, it becomes the 4 chord. And if I move this chord here down to the 7, 5, 4, it becomes the root. So that's just a little bonus there. All right, so we have root chords and all the options. We have the 4 chord and those options. And then we also have the 5 chord and its options. Also, if you do the harmonics here at the 7th fret, those also constitute the 5 chord. All right, I wanted to show you a picture here before we move on. All right, most of you have already seen this blues box from previous videos, but this here is basically just the 12-bar blues progression in a linear form. This part here being the turnaround. And these little numbers here, I don't know if you can see those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those correspond to the bars or the measures in a blues progression. So typically on the first measure, you're going to be playing the 1 chord. An option for the second measure is to go to the 4 chord, and then back to the root, back to the root. And then for the 5th measure, we're going to go to the 4 chord for 2 measures, 5 and 6, and then back to the root for measures 7 and 8. And then the turnaround, a typical turnaround, is going to go 5 chord, for the 9th measure, 4 chord, 5, 1, 5. Now this 5 here pulls you back around to the root. It's like a repeating pattern. This 5 chord here, due to the resolution qualities, wants to resolve back to the root. All right, so let me just show you that really quick here, and then we're going to get into a little jam section here. Okay, so I'm going to be playing the root. Turn around. So that's a basic example of walking through this 12-bar blues progression. All right, so let's move on to a little jam section. Actually, hold that thought. Before we get onto the jamming section, I want to show you just a little scale you can use, the blues scale. So we're going to go open on the high string, and it'll be the top and the bottom strings, but I'm just going to do the high string here. Open, and then the 3rd fret. Now, here is a key thing here. A lot of people, they don't realize that they need to take that note and bend it up just a slight bit. If you're a true blues player, you know that. And if you're a slide player, you know that. If you're a newbie, you might not know that. So now I'm teaching you, so now that you're going to know that. Okay, so on this note here, the 3rd fret, you're going to just take it and you're going to do what they call a micro bend. You're barely going to bend that guy. And it's a subtle thing, but trust me when I say it's real important. I'm going to hit the top string with my thumb, and then I'm going to bend this little guy, and you're going to hear it like, just hear that? I'm just a subtle bend. If I didn't do it, it'd sound like this. So if I don't bend it, it sounds kind of generic, but if I bend it, bend it even just a little bit more than subtle. All right, so that's subtle, but very important. All right, so put that in your little repertoire bag. So you're going to come up here from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, and then you're going to get the passing note. They call that the flat 5. Up to the 5. So 1, or open, 3, 5, 6, 7. We're going to jump up here to the 10th, up to the 12th. Now, I like to take this 14 and bend it up to the, I'm bending it up to, to catch the flat 7 there. From the middle string here, it's the same scale. As I come down here, though, I'm going to hit this note, which is the 8th fret, and then to the 5th fret. do the, that'd be here. So from the 12th fret, middle string, 11th fret, middle string, 10th fret, middle string. And if, remember this little bend here? You could also do that little bend right here. So if you overlap all of those things here, you're going to kind of map it out. You're going to have all sorts of places that you can do cool licks, okay? And this is called the blues scale. You're welcome. All right, for this last section, we're just going to throw a little jam. And we're going to follow the 12-bar blues progression here. All right, so I'm going to try to play simple. I'm going to try to put in different chords here, the different chord options that we had. But this is mainly for you to try out your blues scales and for you to try in different chords and these chord options. All right, here, so let's get started. I had to stop because my strap broke. All right. Well, hope you found some inspiration, some tricks, some opportunities to expand your blues repertoire. All right. If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe, comment, share, like, all that good stuff. And don't forget, check out my Patreon. In the there's a link to it in the banner of my YouTube channel. And then, as always, we'll see you in the next video.